Attention, roll call. Hospital Corpsman Senior Chief Melissa Crow. Hospital Corpsman Chief Chris Mascarena. Hospital Corpsman First Class Richard Schreck. Hospital Corpsman First Class Select Randall Scott Ott.
Present, Chief!
Hospital Corpsman Third Class Christopher Nim. HM3 Christopher Nim. Doc Nim. Doc Nim is not here. The Marine Corps has reported that 8 Marines and their Doc Nim, have reported for duty in guarding the gates of heaven. Rest easy, shipmate.
Hey guys, what's going on? Sorry. It's Sam Patrick here for Splints and Whiskey. Today is Memorial Day, and obviously for a lot of people in this network, Memorial Day hits a little differently for us than maybe people with no connection to the service or no family members in the service. So I want to take a minute, have a sit down with a couple friends of mine who've done the thing, and just have a chat about what Memorial Day means to them. I know I've been in a couple group chats where people are like always unsure of what to do when people say thank you for your service and all that. And at the end of the day, I think the important thing is to recognize that, hey, just because people don't have that shared experience doesn't mean it's not appreciated what we do or what you guys do. I don't do anything anymore besides sit here and talk on a microphone, amongst a couple other things. But no, so I got Rick Elder, Jon Conerly, Zack and Alex Hall coming on for a quick chat today, and hopefully this can help resonate and carry today a little bit deeper than the traditional just day off, and understand some of the hidden things that guys and gals in the position that I used to be in and that plenty of people are still doing. Super profound there, right? Yeah, but more importantly, just want to also say thank you for everybody who's still holding the line. I want to thank everybody who's in public safety and first response and military, and who go out every morning to serve, or night to serve something larger than themselves. And it's a unique spot to be in. I've been blessed and fortunate to be surrounded by such amazing people in the space internationally, and this is just a little tribute to everybody. And as you can see from the pictures over my shoulders there, you know, it's all about just taking a minute to reflect on what it all means. And at the end of the day, it's pretty special. And I wanted to share a quick story. So this came through one of my group chats today. And someone dropped in there about a World War II veteran who was thanked for his service, and they responded with, "You were worth it." I think that's awesome, because at the end of the day, all of us who get into the service of some variety, where we're serving something larger than ourselves, usually with a flag on our shoulder, that if we make the ultimate sacrifice, we go home in a box with a flag draped over it. But every last one of us knows what we're getting into. We do it for the people on our left and right, and ultimately we do it for the health and well-being and the safety of whatever country we're serving. So this is not unique just to America. This is a job that transcends nations, and at the end of the day, we are all trying to do something in the belief of something bigger than ourselves. So hope you enjoy. Happy Memorial Day. I always feel odd saying that, but at the end of the day, let's take a minute and remember those who came before us and held the line and didn't make it home. All right, thanks again. Hey guys, welcome back to Splints and Whiskey. Today's kind of an ad hoc, impromptu Memorial Day episode as I drop everything all around me. Got a good buddy of mine, Rick Elder, calling in from Maine. We're going to try to get a few of these in today, but Rick and I served in the 160th for a hot minute, dude. Did lots of jumping out of airplanes. And
Yeah.
were you on the FARP jump when we almost got killed by the heavy drop?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. So
Cody Bernard was first in stick. I was second in stick, and we almost pushed through the safety to get out because of that.
Yeah, dude. I was sitting in the middle seat. So I'm like, "Oh, this is how my life ends." But
Yeah,
it's appropriate for Memorial Day. A little dark humor for your days. I've got every Memorial Day. I like to take a gander at the ramp ceremonies to remind me. But without further ado, my guy, I would love to hear. We were chatting a little bit, but hey, what Memorial Day means to you, and what some of the stuff you're working on to pay it forward.
So, for me, Memorial Day is, living to, and you're going to hear this is kind of cliche, but it's living up to what my friends can't do. Right. They can't be here for us. The families feel that loss, but if I can live every day that I hope that they would be proud of,
right.
Paying it forward, as you say, helping others out that are struggling, and just being reminded of how humble we can be towards others and how others are struggling, especially with family members that are no longer here with us. I think that's the biggest one for me, is just, reminding people or letting people know of the names of those that can't be here and what they gave for our country.
Yeah, no, I get that, because I know a lot of people, like for all of us, it's not a day about barbecues. It's not a day off of work. No. Like we literally, like the whole flag, how the flag behaves on Memorial Day when we lower it to half mast in the morning, and then we raise it back up as a celebration. So like, while it's a bittersweet celebration, but some of the foundations or the projects you're working on, you were mentioning, sound legendary. You mind sharing them?
Yeah. So I am an ambassador for the Travis Mills Foundation, and yes, I know I'm repeating myself. I do this all the time. So actually, yesterday for Memorial Day, we had a 5K run here in Maine. Had I think it was 2,500 people that came out that did it. I think it was the fourth year in this one specific location in Brunswick, Maine. But it was an old airfield, the old Brunswick Naval Station. Actually, we use that. So we have a bunch of that aspect running around. You've seen the old like P3s and stuff like that, which is great. But they also put out little placards of all Maine veterans have passed away from, I believe it is GWAT, because that's what Travis Mills specializes in, is just GWAT, so post 9/11. Right. And it is one of our guys from 4th Battalion, Blaine Adams.
Okay, yeah.
He has his placard there, and the first year I was there, I found his placard, and I put one of our little enameled stickers from the Regimental Press on his, and it's there every year. I check it, make sure it's there. Ran into Richie. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Richie.
I remember Richie.
Yeah. Ran into him last year, which is great. But the idea is you run along this path, and you're seeing all the veterans from Maine.
Nice.
That you're supporting, you're remembering, and you're looking at their faces, you're looking at their timelines, you're looking at their services that they, the branches they served in. And it's very humbling. We get a lot of people from out of state that come out here. But it's in remembrance to these individuals. But once again, the Travis Mills Foundation, who just got connected with the Gary Sinise Foundation as well. And the idea is Travis is a quad amputee from Afghanistan. He's one of the only ones surviving that is a quad amputee. He bought the old Elizabeth Arden estate off of the Belgrade Lakes, and turned it into a retreat for veterans and their families. It's one of the only ones that does it.
Nice.
It's a retreat that the veterans, the families, the kids, everybody comes out for a week. Spends a great time on a lake. Actually, me and my wife attend it as well.
Nice.
As I've been injured, I was medically retired. And they do wintertime. I went ice fishing this year, dog sledding, stuff like that. Nice. But in summertime, we have the lakes. We go out tubing, stuff like that for the kids. And the idea is you're connecting with other families from across the U.S. that are in the same boat. There are people that come here for the first time and you're like, didn't realize something or another family is going through the same thing that we're going through, you know? And I think that's the biggest thing. When I first started volunteering, I was just like working in the kitchen because I can't physically do a lot of the other stuff. And I would start at the beginning of the week. I volunteered at the beginning of the week and I volunteered at the end of the week. And the transition from like people being segregated at different tables while they're eating to the end of the week, like kids are running around, you got families intermingling. It's just a huge, like, for me, it's a great feeling to see that. But also, you know, once again, you get those people that are apprehensive and now they realize I'm not the only one. We're not the only ones dealing with this. And it's just a great organization. Like I said, I'm an ambassador for them now. I was in their very first PTSD program that they had, which is called Warrior Path, which is provided by the Boulder Crest Foundation out of Virginia. Nice. And the idea is turning PTSD into PTG or post-traumatic growth. And the things that we experience is the hardship that we went through actually have made us better, stronger, and more caring, more loving, and appreciate the things that we have in our lives, because there's people here, once again, Memorial, that can't appreciate those things, that can't live the life that they dreamed of living. So for me, once again, the Memorial aspect is doing what others only dream. And some of those dreams were just being here for Memorial Day and having a barbecue.
Yeah, man, that's it. And I think that's the big thing is like, it's not a day, like we don't need to be sad, but like it's a day of remembrance, but to like turning into like good old Army resiliency, hunting the good stuff. But like, no, that's awesome, dude. Like, hearing about that stuff. I will definitely get all the foundation's information and I'll throw it in on a placard, or I don't know, I'll figure something out. I got to edit this stuff. It's so much fun. But yeah, man, freaking that's awesome. Thanks for coming on briefly. We're just kind of doing short snippets for this one, but yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch, and I'll definitely try to route a whole bunch of people. And the one thing I forgot like you're talking about community, man, like working like some of the work I'm doing right now, it's like we're trying to make sure people have that community when they get out. It's like, hey, lean into it. Like the stuff that's over my head here, like it's stuff no one else will truly understand. Like they can think they understand it, but like until you've carried that transfer case on board, like you don't get it. And I think
the biggest thing for us too is like, especially within the organization that we were in, it was small team stuff, crew members. You're one of your only job going out there most of the times, like you, me, some of the other guys. So when you lose that aspect, it's a hard transition.
It's so hard, dude.
You're so resilient on yourself, but then you're like, I have this small little team I can pick off of.
Right.
You know, shit, where'd they go?
Right.
You know, do I have to? So I'm also talking to a doctor, psychologist right now, who's actually just presented to NATO about how. And I saw in your video how you just actually became a sponsor. I just started going back through your list of this. And how your transition focused on in TAPS for business aspect, but there's no transitional period or help for your mental aspect.
Right. Yep.
Transition back into civilian world.
100%, dude. Yep.
Right. So how do we do that? Well, we take some bits from the Warrior Path program.
Yep.
And we put this in. How do we infuse this into that TAPS program?
Yep.
That allow you to transition easier. I find the easiest way whenever one of our guys are getting ready to retire or something like that, I'm like, find a hobby.
Yep.
Everyone's like, I'm worried about a job. I'm worried about this. Find a hobby when you're like 2 years out and you're like, you're getting out. That way you have that thing that you can fall back on that you had when you were military, that you had while you're transitioning into a new job. And then you can carry it forward into your new life.
Yep.
Right. In a hobby, it could be grilling, cutting grass, whatever.
Woodworking, leatherwork.
Yeah, leatherwork, sandcastles, whatever you want.
Art.
Right?
You know, I'd like to dabble in poetry these days. No.
Yeah. Journaling. I do journaling. I do meditation. I do all these things. But having that while you're in, it's something to fall back while you transition into that new life, so you can step and balance if you need to. Yeah. And it gets you out of your headspace. How do you integrate that? How do you integrate that? All the other training on top of trying to find a job, secure your family, all this stuff. It's just all that stress, you're peaking. How do I numb that? Well, not numb it, but how do I get outside of it?
Yeah, dude.
You know, I find hobbies are the best thing. I think everybody should be a maker, but at the same time, it's what you can fall back on that you can just get out of your headspace for like a small hour.
Yep.
An hour a day, something like that you can do just to center yourself again. Be it journaling, reading, doing something like that you can do. I think that is the most important thing, straight up, because you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that identity. You're going to lose your identity. You're going to lose your self-worth because you don't have your buddies to bounce back off of you because they're busy training.
That's right.
They're going on the next mission. They're going on the next deployment. They're going. They're doing what they love you. They'll call. They'll pick up their text. But you lose that availability because you're not there with the crew.
Yep, I totally get that, dude. That's super important. Hey, Rick, I really appreciate you, dude.
Sorry, yeah.
No, you're good, man. Hold on. We're just going to do this, and hey, Rick Elder, I'll tie out his contact information. Working on some awesome stuff, and we'll keep him out there. And thanks for coming on.
Yeah, bro.
All right, guys. Round 2 of the Splints and Whiskey Memorial Day brouhaha. I got Jon Conerly here, a good buddy of mine, a chaplain's assistant from my time at 4160, and I think you went up to regiment after that. So you have a unique perspective on today as well, because as a chaplain's assistant, you had the unfortunate responsibility, or not unfortunate, I guess. You had the honor, I should say. It's an honor to prepare and plan the unit level memorials on multiple levels. So I'm really kind of interested to hear your perspective on things. So, like, without further ado, hey, Memorial Day, what's that mean to you?
Well, I think, the pictures behind you that, the core competencies of being the chaplain corps is nurture the living, care for the wounded, and then like honor the fallen, right? And so for a lot of us, 2/3 of my job is dealing with the worst day of somebody's life.
Yeah.
Which makes it a little difficult. But what I think a lot of people don't understand, for memorial means a little bit different because, we call it like it's the aftercare, right? The physical therapy on the family. So it means for me is, I know this sounds kind of weird. I explain this to my kids. It's kind of like the movie Coco.
Mm-hmm.
If veterans had one day to come back with their families, I would think it'd be Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And then what would they do? And then that's what I tried to do on Memorial Day. So if Roger Waffle or any of those guys that we lost had one more day with their family and God granted them that day on Memorial Day, what would they do?
Yeah.
So I don't spend this day drinking and getting just, what I try to do is think about if I was gone and I watched my wife raise 2 kids by herself and I had one day to come back, what would I do?
Heck yeah, man.
I would help.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm going to do what married couples do. But I'm not going to spend it drinking. I'm going to spend it serving my family.
Heck yeah, man.
So that's what it means to me, is I try to honor their legacy and I try to honor what they do, but I also try to do it by honoring who they are as men, as fathers, because that is what my job, that's what I deal with. I deal with the after effects. I just don't deal with the memorial. I deal with the, especially in the regiment.
Right.
We keep those families close and we keep them connected. And they can reach out and say, hey, I'm having issues. Can somebody help me with my lawn? Can somebody help me do this? And we've seen it so many times on that, our chat, where it's like, hey, this person needs help. Who's in the area?
Right.
It's that aftercare. And so, but I bet you if on Memorial Day, if their husbands could come back, they would say, no, I got it. I'm here now.
Right.
And
yeah, no, and that's super powerful, dude. Because a lot of us, there's a large population of our compatriots that will self-medicate and all these other things and find, you can always argue it's unhealthy, but as long as things are done in moderation, like, hey, figure it out. It's all part of the cycle. But yeah, that's you bring up the worst day of someone else's life, and that's where I spent my whole career as well. It's like, all right, how does this person who's having the worst day of their life, how can I give them the best level of care, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, no, like I chose the transfer ceremonies from downrange with guys in uniform, because that was always my, like, every time I got into the theater, I'd pull up the Extortion 1-7 ramp ceremony just because it's powerful. It's a reminder. It's a reminder, like, hey, this is why we're here. This is why I'm here. Like, I can't save everybody, but we're also, I think that's one thing about the military, law enforcement, firefighters that you see is like when someone in that community makes the ultimate sacrifice, it's a powerful celebration of that person's life, and it doesn't matter the circumstances behind the loss, which I think is another important thing.
Absolutely. I think that, you know, in the communities we grew up in, you know, in the conventional side, you know, sometimes alcohol is frowned upon, but in ours we do take a shot in remembrance.
Right.
And we do honor those. I think there's two parts to Memorial Day. There's because I think in every soldier we wear different hats. We're the brother in arms with the people we grew up with, and then we're also the family.
Right.
And so I don't look down on people who honor and celebrate the memory in their way, because they might be honoring that hat that other person wore, right? They're
Right.
honoring the soldier, they're honoring the service member, and they're honoring that part of their life, which it's Memorial Day for veterans. But I also understand, like, why a lot of us do what we do. We do it for the families and the friends back home.
Right.
And that is a huge aspect of why we signed up or why we keep going. I think there's no wrong. It's just how I chose to honor those people.
Yeah.
Honor what we've lost is I try to honor the family person and the husband and father, and then, you know, the soldier aspect. You know, I'll typically, you know, if we have, you know, a ceremony at the flagpole or anything like that, then I'll pay my respects to the soldier there.
Right. Now, let's not forget all our sisters in arms who've also made the sacrifice as well. I know we worked male dominated units, but when there's still plenty of the moms who didn't make it home either, and now is a permanent mantle picture, unfortunately. Yeah, it's another thing I think guys struggle with. Not struggle is that's the wrong term, but like when people are told thank you for your service by someone who's never served. I got lots of guys who get ruffled. I'm like, hey man, like, it's their way of, like, they may not understand, but they're at least making an attempt.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, it's sometimes I think my wife makes fun of me because when I travel to the airport, you know, we travel in civilian clothes, we travel whatever term you want to call it, and I shake all the new soldiers' hands, and I'm like, "Thank you for your service." And my wife's like, "Why are you doing that?" Because I said, like, I love watching them get so proud, you know, because that might be their first thank you, you know. And I never want to lose that, like, innocence of pride of serving.
Yeah.
And even if I can live in that moment with that one person, that one new basic training AIT graduate or whatever branch they serve in, if I could just see that, because we get jaded, you know.
100%.
You get jaded. Sometimes I don't even like getting I've never get my free meal on Veterans Day.
Nope.
Like, it's not why I joined. I didn't join for the free meals and the cool things, like, but it's, you want to live. I miss the innocence of service sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that it's very easy to take for granted while you're in, but like, if you look at the United States military in particular, like, dude, literally every walk of life, like my battle buddy in basic training, like, was somebody I never would have crossed paths in had I not joined the military. Like, so many of it is truly, it's honestly magical because we're just doing the damn thing and we don't care what you look like. We don't care what you believe in. It's just like, hey, at the end of the day, we have a job to do. What do we got to do that? And there are other professions out there, primarily first responders, but like, any job that you rely on that person to the left and right to keep you alive is a super unique. It's a unique office space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to, if you don't mind, Sam, just you talked about, and I want to make sure I hit your point about somebody shaking my hand. There's and I'm probably butchering the saying, but in my church, they said, "Hey, be careful how you act because you might be the only Bible people read." Right? Like you, people who don't know religion, you might be their first and only impression of whatever religion you serve.
Right.
You believe in. I think it's the same thing. Like everybody that shakes my hand, I try to stop, look them in the eye, shake their hand, and say, they say thank you, and I say you're welcome because I represent the uniform.
Yep.
And if I'm forgive my language, but if I'm a dick to them or I pass it off or if I have jaded, that I might be the last impression they walk away with. And they don't know my story. They don't know the regiments and the things I've been into that maybe elicit that type of like brush off.
Right.
So I think always ensuring that person thanks you, you give them the time because you represent, and I think sometimes we have this, like this 1,000-yard stare we think is super cool. And sometimes it's off-putting. It's
Yep.
great in our circles. It's great. It's street. It's currency in certain circles, but outside of it, with people that have no clue, you think you have to be aware of just the person you're interacting with. So like today for Memorial Day, if someone shakes my hand, I'm no, thank you. Like what would, and I keep using because he's our connection, but what would Roger Waffle do?
Right. 100%. Yeah. And Roger, rest in peace. What a legend amongst men. Yeah, it's one thing I find myself doing too. It's like I don't like I always joke, like it's a low key joke, but also like, hey, thank you for your taxes, because like everybody that like everybody who is paying into the system, like, hey, you guys are supporting us. And I would always, like, when people bitch about taxes, I'm like, hey, all right, how much do you pay in taxes every year? Okay, cool. You pay 3 months of my retirement. Like that's who you can now you have a face for your income taxes to feel less bad about. Like, and I think that's one of the important things too is I've always tried, like especially in like whenever I hear somebody inside a service-based organization discount what they did, I'm like, nah, man, like we're all we all exist in a mutually beneficial kind of symbiotic relationship with one another, whether it's like somebody I've never met, but they are the ones who put together this widget that kept this person alive that one time. Like, and that person probably just thinks they're making widgets in a factory in middle America somewhere. And like, no, man, like that is my, whenever I try to like, I try to validate others and make sure that they feel seen just as much as they see me.
No, I think, validating others and making sure they feel seen. I think I try to do that even while I'm in the military.
Yep.
And what let me preface that is sometimes we like to make ourselves feel good by comparing our struggle to others.
Yes.
And we have new soldiers coming in, and they go to Poland or they go to they rotate somewhere, and you see these old salty senior NCOs, and it's like, oh, must be nice. Back when I was in, we went to COP or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What it does is it's like you're not validating their experience, or
100%.
to that family and to those kids, dad or mom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning dad or mom is still gone.
Yep.
And then I even see it with like spouses, like, oh, like, why are you stressing? Like, your husband's only in Germany. And it's like, well, to my kid, he still missed a birthday.
Right. Yep.
And hey, I'm sorry, my husband was born in 2002. Like,
right.
My bad. Like, why are we? And so I think we see that as just seeing that everybody in this, everybody has a part to play. Everybody has a story. Everybody's a cog in the wheel, and validating that without them, like, um, that, and also just making them feel heard. Like, hey,
Yeah.
thank you for your service, regardless of the time you raise your right hand.
Yeah, that's time. Like, what do we lose? Like, what does everybody lose in the military is time with loved ones, time doing what you want to do. Like, it's a sacrifice of time. Like, just because I deployed X amount of times and like what I lost was time. And I think that's the big important thing is when I hear about senior NCOs discounting the next generation, I'm like, that's toxic leadership first and foremost. Well, that's not neither here nor there for this episode, but like, we're all like, you look at being so close to the Bangor submarine base up here, those guys go underwater for 3 to 4 months at a time. Like, literally zero communication with the outside world for 3 to 4 months, and they have family and all this other stuff. It's like, what is the family missing? It's time and interaction. And I think that's the big one. And like, when I think about, like, it's kind of actually the light bulb moments are turning on right now as we're talking. It's like, hey, when people say thank you for your service, like, thank you for your time, recognizing that I lost time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
my soldiers, they look at, I'm a product in the military of something that I have no control of, which is the time I was born.
mm-hmm.
I was born in the 80s. That means I got to serve in GWAT.
Yep.
And they were handing out ribbons like the Dollar Tree store.
Well, maybe to you. I never got any.
Yeah. So some people, we look like, Mexican generals with just a Crayola box on our chest. And soldiers now, oh wow, those are amazing. And you look at it, and it's funny, when you're young, you covet those. You're like, oh, I'm at 2 rows now. I'm at 3 rows.
Oh yes.
Center it. You just want to stack them because it just makes you look cool. But then at 19 years, I look down at my ribbons and I realize all the things that I've missed to earn it, because I look at that ribbon and I'm like, oh, I remember where I was, but I also remember that was my daughter's 5th birthday.
Yep.
Like, oh, I remember this because, but I remember, I was gone for my anniversary.
Yep.
And then you realize that little piece of cloth, you would trade that in. It's weird. You're in a conflicted feeling because you're like, I would trade that in to be there in that moment, but then you're like, well, I'm really proud of it. It's this weird just duality then what you think about. I know we're rambling here, Sam, but it's
that's the beauty of it, bro.
I haven't been TDY. I took a garrison assignment, and I have been TDY in a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
On purpose. I've got all these invites, and I'm just like, I want to be home with my family.
Yep.
And my soldiers are like, man, why don't you go? Because you get to enjoy this new place and enjoy this new restaurant. You could do this and this. And you realize that it's like, yeah, but I have all these amazing memories, but I've never shared any of them with my wife.
Yes. Yeah, it's you're singing my heartstrings, my guy. Yeah, it loses the luster when it doesn't. You're not like, yes, the guys are cool, like the family that you get in the military, like, and you bring up the Gold Star family and like how the unit supports all this other stuff, like, but you know what? Every single Gold Star family would much rather have their Gold Star member back. They'd rather have that Blue Star, like the Gold Star, like a Gold Star to me, like it's not gonna. I'm not marginalizing anything, but like it's another ribbon. Like it's a, hey, like let's try to soften the blow as much as we can. But at the end of the day, that family they just want their mom or their dad back, or their sister, or their brother, or their daughter or son. I had that experience at a 275 memorial where like I had the parents of the fallen ranger like shake my hand and say thank you for trying your best. Like that was a gut punch. I'm just like, oh. Like, was it powerful? Yes. Was it meaningful? Absolutely. But I'm like, man, like I just wish he was here for you guys. Like, but you know how the old saying goes: shit in one hand, wish in the other. See which fills up first. And life doesn't work like that. But John, I appreciate it. We're gonna wrap this real quick. I'll hang out for a little bit after this, but I just wanted to shut down the recording portion. But thanks again for coming on, my dude. Like, really appreciate you sticking but being public facing like this. I know a lot of our guys are like, man, I'm a behind the scenes guy. I'm like, well, behind the scenes doesn't help people understand, and it also doesn't help the next generation learn on how to move forward and adjust and be a little bit more resilient, for lack of a better term. So before we sign off on the recording portion, I'll kick it over to you for your final thoughts, my dude.
You know, I've done memorial services for like a Medal of Honor winner. I've done a lot. I've seen a lot of death. I've seen a lot of just stuff. And what I guess what I would leave you with, Sam, is I think as service members, sometimes we have to fight hard to remain like there's an innocence sometimes that we lose.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
And the memorial services and these things become taskings, right? We do ours, and we do another meeting to make sure it's not a memorial, they're called memorial ceremonies, but we focus so much on the ceremony. Like, I have to make sure everything is done right because it's a tasking. And
right.
But after a while, you do so many of them, it's almost like you get like compassion fatigue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And, it's funny as you talk about, there's certain moments, like you said, with that 275, there's certain moments that kind of just break through that callousness, and you just remember why you're doing it.
Absolutely.
And you remember why, just I don't know, like the burden. What they said is like, and I encourage us all, every service member, we talk about in rucking, ounces lead to pounds.
Absolutely.
But we never realize how much death and how much of these events are little weights in our rucksack.
Mm-hmm. Oh, brother.
And I encourage anybody out here on Memorial Day is, we're so busy focusing on making new memories, new training. We never actually take time and process the stuff that's been in our ruck.
It's damn truth, man.
And so I encourage anybody out there that, hey, if you haven't processed, you haven't done anything, or you need to find a way to process. Mine's serving my family. That's just the way I do it, is I process all the loss that I've done by serving it and trying to live this day as how I hope they would, or they think that they would live their day. And that is my way of processing it. But finding a way as service members of 2 decades of this life of just constant little ounces and little pounds going in your ruck, how are you today honoring them and processing all the death that this profession comes with?
Yeah, man. No, that's profound. And I hope, like, the whole purpose of me sticking my neck on the line and recording crap is like, hey, giving people the tools. And that's super profound, dude. And I appreciate you sharing that, man. We will continue this, and maybe we'll get you on for a full episode, because we could talk for hours, my dude. But I will catch you on the flip side, and when I close this out, we will circle back.
Sure.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to round 3 of today's Memorial Day special episode of Splints and Whiskey. I got Zack Andrews sitting with me right now. He's currently waiting to get on a big old boat to go up to Alaska and San Francisco. But Zack, he works for the POW MIA recovery, or I can never get the agency right. It used to be JPRA for me. But without further ado, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then kind of what the work and how your views on Memorial Day are, since that's the gist of the conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate the intro. So in full disclosure, I just PCS'd from there not that long ago. So I'm down in Texas right now. But yeah, I was a medic over there for 3 years at the Defense POW MIA accounting agency, and the unit's mission is just unique. It's go and get those remains since World War II up to anything current that could possibly happen. and it's one of those things that, Memorial Day meant something to me in the past, as it does. You have all this, being a soldier, yeah, sure, it has an impact on you. But when you go to the sites, when you see the sheer numbers, when you hear the stories of those, really impacts you differently. It puts you in their shoes, and you realize that the sacrifices, it doesn't become something that's just kind of mirage in the background of like, yeah, I know it's there. I know, people, passed and gave their life, ultimate sacrifice, all those things we know, but it becomes personal to you. And so, being able to be part of the mission, there's a lot of remains. I think the sheer number is one of the biggest thing that hits you. 82,000 remains still
It's
left to
crazy.
recover. I mean, and that's from World War II on, most of them being World War II and in Vietnam. And that's globally. I mean, it's the European theater. It's Southeast Asia is huge for that, and that's actually the biggest push due to various technicalities to get there. But you hear these stories, and you get to go, and you become, it's almost like a post-mortem view
Right.
of, forensic view of everything from the back. And I remember one of the missions I was on in Laos, we went to the site. Probably no Americans had been there since the war, and
Hmm.
we flew in. We could barely make it in on a helicopter, and you see these defensive positions dug in. They built kind of this crown of a trench
Right.
on top of a hill overlooking the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and there was multiple lives that were lost there, and due to the fact of that we haven't recovered the name. I can't really throw out names for all
Right.
these.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just, no, it's going to be real generic, but, um, there's claymores set up. There's the battle still there. There's brass you're picking up. There's helicopter burned down on the site trying to get remains out. I mean, it was a hellacious fight that happened. You're finding 40 Mike still, and inert, just sitting there. I mean, it's and so as you put this all together, it doesn't become a distant generational memory. It starts to become, these people, they really fought to the end for
Yeah.
each other for what they believed. And especially, you get in the World War II generation with that, where everybody willingly just joined up. I mean, the fight was there. And all the way from recovering remains from, Pearl Harbor,
Yeah.
just from the onset of World War II, there's incredible stories of selfless service, sacrificing each other for one another, sitting there resolute for a cause, looking for, like, hey, my life is not as important as these, notions of freedom that we're fighting for.
Right.
um, yeah, it's truly amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, takes on a different toll, and it's more emotional now looking back on the day.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we discount in the moment, like, because I'm sure whenever you repatriate remains, it goes through the full dignified transfer, it goes through the full
Yeah.
rendering of honors, like, and that to me has always been like my most powerful moments are like my self-deprecating, like get myself in the zone thing. Anytime I went to Afghanistan was watch the Extortion 17 transfer video, just because it's massive. It's a reminder. And to be fair, like you think about World War II, Vietnam, like that was daily. Like
Yeah.
that type of loss was drop in the bucket, and here you are, and like I think that's another big thing people don't realize, like how far the United States of America is going to go to get you out, even
Yeah.
after the fact. And that's awesome. And like you look at Memorial Day on, I see a video of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier right now. It's like
Hmm.
it's kind of always been that, hey, and to be fair, there's that whole psychological aspect as well. But I look at this day, it's an opportunity to render respect to those that are no longer with us, obviously. But you getting that perspective is super interesting. Just curiosity, like, so you're going to Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. What is like the support you're getting from the local population when you guys are doing these missions?
Yeah, it's pretty good. And I'll be honest, like we pay tons of, for local workers. I mean, it's these big excavation sites. I mean, we have archaeologists, forensic scientists. I mean, the U.S. puts money into this that nobody does.
Yeah.
And with that, they're willing to pay for local workers to help. And in the way that it has to be done, you can't use machinery.
Right.
You can't just tear up these sites. You got to be careful with it. So, I was a team leader and a medic for multiple of the missions, and you may have 100 locals, and they are paid, but I think it's a message that we actually send to other countries,
Yeah.
because nobody does it. The closest to get anything kind of in our realm as far as countries willing to do this is probably South Korea.
Oh, really?
They have a pretty robust system, but we'll bring people into our labs in Hawaii and we'll do a tour for foreign countries, and they can't even believe the amount of technology we'll put into it. And actually we put so much into it that we develop forensic methods to identify, just because we're looking at all these remains, and it ends up working out into the civilian world within criminal
Right.
investigations and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's wild. I just how long were your missions normally for, like, when you'd go over?
Yeah, if you're on a recovery mission for remains, you're looking at least 8 weeks that you're going to be over there. Sometimes a bit shorter, maybe a week or two shorter. But the reality is that a lot of times we go to these sites, and some sites we'll go back. There's one I know that they went back 13 times
Well,
to not just get a bone fragment, to get everything.
that's
And it's neat because it will end up turning from, hey, we found a watch. Say a watch was with the remains, and we'll have historians who will take that watch and they will try to figure every detail out of it. And I believe there's one story where they said, well, actually, we can prove who bought the watch. It was their father bought them the watch before they left for it. So now it's this heirloom that we give back to the family and say, hey, your great grandfather bought this for your grandfather before he went off to Vietnam or World War II, and I forget which conflict it was. But this is a piece to give back to you that he wore through the conflict.
That's awesome. Since one of the chats I had with one of my buddies who was a chaplain's assistant, and we focused hard on the family. Like, it's like, yeah, the service member is long gone, but like, you have generational family members who are now seeing, like, hey, like, my father, my grandfather, my great grandfather, whatever degree of family they are, like, my country, who is now moving, literally moving mountains to recover the even fragments. Like you said it yourself, like, sometimes it's only a bone fragment, but then it gives that family that closure, like, hey, they're home now.
Yep.
And like, just like with the Vietnam veterans, welcome home. Like, it's while it's a somber mission, it's one of those that's super unique. And given the day, what today is, and like the fact that take a pause, remember that, hey, we're able to enjoy the quality of life we have, because that generation, to be fair, the World War II generation was what towed the line when the call for, like, the fight against true tyranny came out.
Yeah.
That's pretty legendary. Well, man, I don't want to hold you up any more than you already got, but you got any closing comments on what today means for you and, like, your family as you're about to go cruise up the coast?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, closing comments on today of Memorial Day, it really comes down to that personal decision on a lot of these missions to sacrifice their lives. A lot of them were not stuck in an instance where it just happened. A lot of them knowingly fought to the end, knowing that they weren't going to come back, knowing that they were going to give their life even just to save a few.
Right.
Whether it was a helicopter pilot staying on guns in the air, waiting to crash in a few minutes, or bombers did the same thing, jets, to single people holding off entire assaults. And yeah, it makes me proud to be part of a nation where we have people who are willing to do that.
Yeah, that's deep, man. I appreciate that, dude. I thanks for jumping on. Enjoy the cruise up to Alaska, and
Yeah,
hope you get some all of the fresh fish you can possibly get. But thanks
yeah, I
again, dude.
appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
Well, fourth and final installment for the day, Mr. Alex Hall, one of my best friends in the whole world, a legend amongst men, still doing the damn thing while I'm just sitting here in my basement with a green screen pretending to be cool still. So, hey, Alex, thanks for hopping on. I know you've been having a busy day with doing all the life things that come with a 4-day weekend, but
Of course.
I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on. Been watching for a while, and I've kind of grown up over time with under your purview as one of my leaders back in the heyday. So
apparently I did something somewhat right, I guess. I don't know, where you're just like, this guy's made so many mistakes, I'm just not doing any of those.
Hey.
But yeah, man, so Alex and I, we worked in the 160 together. He's a medic just like myself, but doing the damn thing, and has continued to carry the standard forward in a manner that I could only hope to carry it forward like you've been. So kudos to you, my dude. So Memorial Day, here we are.
Yeah.
Memorial Day afternoon. What's it mean to you, bro?
Yeah, man. So Memorial Day, it definitely hits very different as time goes on, right? Yeah. When you're a young guy joining the military and you decided to sign your name on the dotted line, and for different reasons, right? Everybody has a reason to get an education, to run away from something. Some of us, fortunate or unfortunate, had to go through some of the heartaches and pains that a lot of other veterans did. And I'm talking storming the beaches of Normandy to now, and us GWAT babies, and the things that we learned through the vice and just the heartache of being deployed. And I think what changed for me is that the day that it came to being a guy that's zipping up that bag, realizing you're packing up that service member, that war fighter, that warrior, he, she, brother, father, sister, daughter to somebody back home. The day you pack up their stuff for the last time, something really changes in you. And to say, and not to take away from those that may have wanted to join the fight, the good fight that we all did, and for whatever reasons, medical life gets in the way, they don't do it. But that aside, what I've learned is that as a medic, I never really carried a weapon into battle, but it was on me to carry the weight of the lives of those that were around me at a moment's notice, anytime, any day. So this day for me is about those who gave everything. And if I want to truly honor those around me who are still alive, or those that are not, those that are wounded, I need to honor their families.
100%.
I need to honor their children. I need to honor their legacy. No matter how they're, things that happen, it's about the families on Memorial Day for me.
Yeah, no, that's very poignant, and John brought that up as well. I think we are quick to forget that while the person who made the ultimate sacrifice, whether and I like to lump first responders in this as well, because they're still out there doing the damn thing for other people every day. It's the family's burden to carry it. It's like, yeah, Gold Star family member, cool. But like the unit will still be there if they need it, but like it's them picking up the pieces.
Yeah, I think and depending on different ranks or where we were at, at times I hate this like adage, and I'm dancing around it a bit, but when a Gold Star family member comes around, some people are almost afraid to go talk to them, but they don't realize that those Gold Star family members, and again, they don't want to, not that they don't want to remember the past, remember the lost ones, but they want to remember those that loved their loved ones, and we're the ones there that carry that torch. And without us involving ourselves with those Gold Star family members, and we say, hey, Gold Star family members are coming by, they're coming by the trail, they're coming by the compound, and you don't see like an all hands on deck type of response, because they're like, well, man, and last time I shook their hand, I couldn't help but bring myself to tears. But that is the point.
100%.
That thank you for this, your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. The point is to show those Gold Star family members that, hey, we are brothers and sisters through and through, and that will never end.
Yeah, no, that's, man, yeah, that's one of those things, like when you hear about people not willing to like give someone else the time because they're uncomfortable. I'm like, hey, dude, what if that's you? Like, you got really, that's how you want to and it's not to throw rocks at anybody. Like, that's the one thing about this community is there's certain things that make us incredibly uncomfortable. We're like, shoot, I'll get shot at all day long. That's easy, but feelings, no.
Yeah, who cares about this? Suppress those until the time comes.
Yeah,
I think some of it too is being that person on the other side of that line, going home, calling home, and having to be that person, that victim advocate to deliver that news. That is where you really learn fundamentally. You'll never truly appreciate their feelings, but you can only work your damnedest to understand them. Because without that willingness to put yourself out there, you'll never know what Gold Star family members are going through. Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, like I like to tell my students is we don't only protect the trail, but we also protect the holes in the walls of the customers that we support. As a medic at any point in time, it is on us to guard those sacred walls and those sacred memorial walls and bring home that person that we may have never met, that somebody's brother, somebody's father, like I've said before, somebody's sister, cousin, somebody you've never met, and they're relying on us to bring them home as a medic. So that being said, thank you for your service. A big part of that for me is giving back and constantly educating. I think it's just education. Now that we've gone and we're formed out of the GWAT, the towers for us still have a huge meaning. And the towers for those firefighters in New York, those people that volunteered. I mean, people just think of New York, but people came from all over the place, from Jersey. They came from all over the place to respond to the towers falling. And Memorial Day being Flag Day previously, and then turning into flowers giving at memorials and at different veteran cemeteries, just educating people. A simple, hey, how are you doing? A handshake and a willingness to share time and listen to a story could go a long way.
That's huge. And like talking to other veterans, like Zack, he's working for the POW MIA Personnel Recovery Agency. I always get that agency wrong, but like listen to him talk about, hey, like we're going after World War II, Vietnam, like getting that other generational gap, like looking for a single bone fragment to give that family closure is awesome. But too, I think one thing that I noticed about Memorial Day that a lot of people kind of use it as a second Veterans Day, which no, like Veterans Day is Veterans Day. Like if you served in the military, like, okay, that's your day. But today is really the day that like me as a medic, like I look back and reflect on those really bad casualties I had to deal with that, hey, you're like, you don't know, like until you've been in your career long enough where you realize my aid bag is useless. I have to get a body bag, and I don't have an American flag. That feels really crappy because I can't do immediate rendering of honors as early as possible.
Yeah. One of the, I guess, the intangibles of being a medic is that the only time we're doing our job is when something goes bad. And a lot of this is driven based off my personal career, my personal experience, where some warfighters, the guys that are going into the darkness, middle of the night, they know that is their job, their sole purpose in life. And our purpose in life is to be there ready for something bad to happen. And I have definitely, there's decisions that, I've made either ill-equipped or ill-trained that trained me to get better, and hard training and realistic training will get you there. But we have to remember that this month, this day, every year, and actually throughout the year, it's not even just about today. We've just dedicated this day to have a day off for barbecues and, pop fireworks and a reason to drink whiskey, but throughout the year, there's plenty of veterans foundations out there. And I wouldn't want to name one because I would be afraid to miss another one.
Right.
But there's a bunch, even just locally here where I'm at in Clarksville. And we go out and we put on events for civilians too. A lot of it's education for civilians to come out, and we'll do things from firearms training, safety to, basic military stuff, or just having a flag ceremony, remembering, because you could pick a day out of the year and I guarantee there's a fallen service member on that day. So every day throughout the year is a day to remember and just carry that piece going forward.
Yeah, I think that's a big one too, is you talk about certain things and the training that you've put forward, the stuff you're doing down there at So Happy, like the scenarios are like they're awesome because they are stress inoculation to its finest, but it's the full spectrum of like, hey, it's not just the 15-minute flight or whatever. Here's the potential third, fourth, fifth level effects. Here's the moral injury that can go associated with that. Because I think that's one thing we take for granted is, yeah, like we're the calm in the storm when it comes to someone having the worst day of their life. And until you've felt that forge or been in that forge, like it's a make or break difference. And to be honest, like people don't know until you know, and like what you've been doing, like with that the training element of stuff is like, hey, we're gonna get you as close to the know, so that way you can perform just on autopilot if you have to.
Yeah, definitely need to fail when you can, fail in training, and it has to be as difficult and realistic as possible. Fail here so you don't fail there.
Yep.
You don't want to, at the end of the day, when you put your head down on your pillow and you realize there's possibly a potential another Gold Star family member based off of the sacrifice and decision we made prior to even going on to this mission, you need to be able to say, for one, that I did my damnedest to ensure that I brought them home.
Yep.
But then for two, when I get home, another part of it is when I get home, I go out and meet with the men and women that I served with on those combat deployments, and I check on them as well, because they are our brothers that we've lost. So the families, that is the pinnacle of everything that we do for Memorial Day. But bringing everybody together to recount, to remember the life that they lived. Those Gold Star family members, they don't know that part of it. We've all been to plenty of ceremonies, and the one thing that I get asked at every ceremony, every time I've had to speak on behalf of a fallen service member, the one thing their parents always ask is, what life did they live when they were with you?
Right.
As their second family. That's what they want to know.
Yeah.
And that is why we have to not make time. Their time is there. We need to dedicate time to spending time with those Gold Star family members.
100%. And it's okay to be uncomfortable with it. Like that's part of the humanity of it. I think we are well versed in the discomforts of life, and that's just one of those, like, yeah, sometimes we got to lean into the feelings and be all right with the fact that I might not have the right thing to say, but these people just want to be around the people that their loved one did the damn thing with, as we all
presence is huge. Presence can go a long way.
Yeah. And
just a helping hand. I mean, we've all probably mowed plenty of yards and taken trash out for service members, but there's plenty of veterans, and I like to spend time with a lot of like the older, if I can find a Vietnam vet, like I don't mind just sitting on a couch and listen and tell a funny story, because they've got plenty of funny stories.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
They are soldiers through and through, just like we are or were, and they've got some of the best tales of a time past that may seem similar to some of the things that we did while we were deployed. So
yeah, well, that's the beauty, because at the end of the day, we all can find something to laugh about, even if someone had to pay the ultimate sacrifice in the most egregious of manners. But well, dude, I'm not gonna chew up much of your time because I know you're doing family stuff, but I will give you the floor for any parting thoughts. And this is the last chat of the day, so you get to send us out in style.
Yeah, so I definitely wrote a little tidbit, and I'll just, so I don't butcher it up. This day isn't about us. It isn't about me. It's definitely not about any of us. It's about those who gave everything. And if you want to honor them, then just know their names, learn their stories, live a life worthy of their sacrifice. And I'll say that again, live a life worthy of their sacrifice. Because if it weren't for them, we wouldn't be here. It doesn't take a couple minutes, but to pick up a book, look up a story, and read it. And if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to a Gold Star family member, there's plenty of foundations out there that you can write letters to, because I assure you, they are still appreciated. So remember to live a life worthy of their sacrifice.
There it is, my dude. All right. Well, thank you so much for jumping on, and everybody else out there, you've been issued the challenge, and if you don't do what Alex Hall tells you, you're gonna fail this lane. All right. Yeah. Well, all right, brother. We'll chat soon, my guy.
Yeah, definitely. Cheers.